What is going on, everybody? Back today to do another video involving my Oscar catch-up. I'm trying to watch movies that are nominated for Academy Awards and try to see as many as I can before the awards ceremony starts. I try to do it every year just to see what films the Academy recognizes, and this is an interesting one because it did not release in the United States until the beginning of this year. It got an international release, but it didn't come to the US until it dropped on Netflix early this year. And this is from a director who has made a few films previously. One of them I have seen, The Orphanage, which I really enjoyed, a quiet, atmospheric, creepy horror film that I appreciated a lot. And he's made a few other movies, and I've heard nothing but positive things about this film, so I was excited to jump in and watch it. And the film I'm going to be discussing today is Society of the Snow. Society of the Snow is directed by J.A. Bayona. On October 13th, 1972, Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571, chartered to take a rugby team to Chile, crashes into a glacier in the heart of the Andes. So, as I said, I've heard nothing but positive reviews about this movie since its initial release. I was excited to watch it, and I thought it was really good. I was very impressed with the presentation. I was impressed with the performances. I thought it was really brutal. I did not expect it to be as brutal and violent as it was, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit about it today. So, at the beginning of the film, we're introduced to our, I guess you could say, lead character, Numa, and his friends that all play on a rugby team, and we get a little bit of insight into their lives. They're just young kids who are out having fun, and they want to go on vacation together, and they're all hyped up and excited to take this trip, but they're all trying to convince Numa to go, and finally he decides, sure, I'll go on this vacation with you. So they pack up all their things and they go to the airport, and they're put on this plane with all these different people. The plane is completely full, and we see the plane flying, and they're flying over these snow-covered mountains. The plane is flying very shakily, and it ends up crashing. And the entire film is after several of the passengers have died. Our lead character and his rugby team and friends and some of the other survivors are trapped in the middle of nowhere in this snow-capped mountain where they have very little food that was packed in suitcases. They have to essentially eat snow as a water source, and the entire film is us trying to watch this group of people survive this horrible tragedy. So as I said, I thought this movie was really good. It's very disturbing, it's very heartbreaking, and the fact that this is based on a real circumstance makes it all the more harrowing. All the performers in this film are absolutely fantastic. Obviously, they're tasked with presenting a situation that was very real and that happened to actual people, and they capture this horrific set of circumstances perfectly. I think the film does a really nice job really paying tribute to the victims. Like, this doesn't feel like it's just taking advantage of a terrible situation. It feels like it's really looking into what these people actually had to struggle through and what they actually had to survive, and really does due diligence at paying tribute to the families and really showcasing just how horrific this would actually be if you were put in this situation. I really liked the cinematography and the visual effects in this. The plane crash sequence is one of the most horrific visual things I've seen in quite some time. I don't feel like violence in film is often captured in a way that would translate into how something would actually happen. Like when you see a bone break or someone get cut or something like that. Sometimes it feels overblown in a very Hollywood way. This plane crash sequence, when people's limbs would get caught underneath the seat or jammed between two things, or their like bones would break and crack. The audio mixed with the visual was so disturbing and uncomfortable in a way that if it didn't make you sick, I don't really know what to tell you. It made me physically ill watching that sequence. And obviously these people were stranded. I think it's 72 days is how long they were stranded out there before they managed to find their way back into civilization and get the people that were left rescued. And they have to resort to cannibalism in this, and that becomes a big part of the movie, is the moral question of, if you were trapped in this place with no food or source of nutrients to live, would you be able to eat someone who's already dead? And the film does less of the questioning of like, will we have to kill someone or that, because there's already these bodies on the ground that are are already dead. It's more of, can these people bring themselves to the ability to eat another human being in order to survive? And what I like is, a lot of films about cannibalism are portrayed in a way that is really horrific, and disturbing, and gross. And that's not to say that this isn't gross and disturbing, but it's portrayed in a much more somber way because it's a fact of reality. It was the only way these people were going to be able to survive, and it's incredibly heartbreaking, and it's difficult to watch in moments. And I really appreciate the way that the director framed this film, because there are moments that do feel like a horror movie because it's a real life horror, but so much of it is incredibly somber and really empathizing for the people involved. I will say, if I have some issues with this film, it's a little bit too long. I feel like the pacing can get a little repetitive in moments, to where, as heavy hitting of subject matter as this film is, there were moments I found myself getting pulled out solely because it just felt like it was overstaying its welcome. There were moments of conversation, and obviously you only have so much that you can do in this circumstance. It's a film about people trapped in an isolated place, but there was something about the dialogue. I just felt like they could have added things into it to make it a little bit more immersive or engaging, and I found myself getting pulled out in moments, but I still think it's incredibly effective, the message that it's trying to deliver. I would also say the building of the characters, more than anything, your attachment to these characters are just from a very human place where you feel bad for them because they're people in this situation. And I think there could have been a little bit more time. If you wanted this film to be 2 hours, I feel like there could have been more time building up the relationship of these people and their families, or what they do in their day to day, and build them up more as people, so that when these situations when this situation happens, you could have gotten an even more intense emotional impact, other than just, hey, they're kids on this vacation. And we get little glimpses into who they are as people, but I just, as I was watching it, I felt like it could have dived heavier into the character development, and then it would have hit an even heavier emotional punch. But I still think the film is incredibly effective, and I'm glad this got nominated for an Academy Award. I thought it was really, really well done. It's very suspenseful, very engaging. And it's funny because I saw someone online post on Letterboxd saying if this was casted with like an all-white cast or an American film, it would be one of the most talked about movies of the year. And I honestly, I agree. It's so funny when movies like this, that are just so well done and so immersive and so engaging, are overlooked by so many general audiences because of subtitles. And it's disappointing. I saw recently a couple of films that I really love are being turned into American remakes, and it's just so sad that people can't get over reading subtitles. And I could see this movie being something that someone in America tries to remake. I could just see that. Obviously it's based on true events, so they might change elements of it, but I could totally see an American director taking this on and trying to make it their own, considering how popular this is getting. And I'm really glad that it's getting a lot of buzz, and I hope more people watch it because it was really well made. So have you seen Society of the Snow? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was really good. Despite a couple of problems I have with it, I still think it's really well made, really engaging, and incredibly heartbreaking. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.